Hi guys and welcome. This is another book haul video and it's been a long while since I've done one, and I think that it's necessary to update you with the books that I've bought relatively recently. These weren't all acquired in August, although the video is called August Book Haul. I did get one of them, but the others I've come across, I've been given one of them, and I think it makes more sense just to go straight through the books as I see them. First one is Catastrophe, Europe Goes to War 1914 by Max Hastings. Let's just about see that. Okay. Very nice book. I really enjoy history and military history in particular, and Max Hastings is one of the foremost military historians in this country anyway. And he produced a documentary series for the centenary of World War One that he advocated the notion that Britain should have fought in World War One and not stayed out of it, whereas I believe Niall Ferguson was voicing the opposite view. And it was a well put together documentary, and he's very passionate obviously about the area, and he's very well regarded. But I was just drawn to the book really. I saw it in the shop and I just think, I've not got that many titles in this area. I've read a lot of science fiction and fiction lately, and I think it's just good to expand that part of the collection. I'm just going to summarise the blurb just to give you a feel. In 1914, Europe plunged into the 20th century's first terrible act of self-immolation, what was then called the Great War. In this centenary year, Max Hastings seeks to explain both how the conflict came about and what befell millions of men and women during the first months of strife. Catastrophe offers some answers to the huge question, what happened to Europe in 1914? Through Hastings' accustomed blend of top-down and bottom-up accounts, from a multitude of statesmen and generals, peasants, housewives and private soldiers of 7 nations, the book pricks myths and presents some striking and controversial judgments to offer an engrossing and deeply moving account of this misunderstood conflict. And it's got some critical opinion. Ben Shepherd, The Observer, character, pace, sense of landscape, battlefield detail, all are superbly done. It's a splendid read. Superb, says Christopher Clark, Mail on Sunday. If you're looking for a humane and compelling interpretive chronicle of the formative months of this horrific conflict, you'll find none better. So that's just a picture of the plaudits that the book has received, and it certainly does look a very exciting read. It basically outlines the run-up to World War One and basically what started the powder keg, as it were, the march to Armageddon. So thoroughly think that is appropriate. The next one is a classic graphic novel, hot on the heels of finishing Watchmen recently, which thoroughly enjoyed that. I thought that was great. It's another Alan Moore title, another famous one, V for Vendetta, Alan Moore, David Lloyd. The classic Guy Fawkes mask on the front. And I've just recently watched the film version of this with Natalie Portman and Hugo Weaving, and I thought that it was very good. I mean, I can't elaborate on the differences because I've not read this yet, but I'm getting through it. Very unique art style. I think Alan Moore alluded to the fact that originally in the original print it had just black and white colour, and there are also no outlines around the edges of the characters' faces, and it melded and created quite a contrasting look. Remember the 5th of November. Dark, gripping storytelling, says the Entertainment Weekly. Densely packed, thematically vibrant and philosophically challenging work that defies easy categorization, says Scripps Howard News Service, and Portland Mercury, perhaps Moore's most powerful work. And the outline really is a frightening and powerful tale of the loss of freedom and identity in a chillingly believable totalitarian world. V for Vendetta stands as one of the highest achievements of the comics medium, and a defining work for creators Alan Moore and David Lloyd. Set in an imagined future England that has given itself over to fascism, this groundbreaking story captures both the suffocating nature of life in an authoritarian police state and the redemptive power of the human spirit, which rebels against it. Crafted with sterling clarity and intelligence, V for Vendetta brings an unequaled depth of characterization and verisimilitude to its unflinching account of oppression and resistance. Now, it'll become apparent to anybody out there that goes on my Goodreads page and has followed this channel that I do like post-apocalyptic content and novels and things like that. Some I do like tales where people are standing up against oppression, and I think, you know, this is going to be another great classic in that genre. So the final book is a bit more standardized. It's simply just a scientific textbook that I was given recently, simply called Immunology, 7th edition. Very complex, complicated, deep, purely about the field of immunology. I'm very interested in it. It's an ancillary interest of mine that I'm always trying to learn more about. And this is basically a textbook from an immunology course that someone was trying to get rid of, and I thought, I'll have that. So yeah, can learn more about parasites, infections, and viruses, and T cells, and everything else. So, but yeah, so if you want to go and check any of those titles out, I've included links to Goodreads, and you can explore them from there. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.